Okay, so is the screen clear, students? Is it clear? Yes, okay, fine. So, see, I just want to tell you, like in the last class also I told you, this chapter, the only best and the smart way to study this chapter is whenever you come across any terminology in this chapter, just try to see the pictures, okay? Because otherwise, like it's going to be a mess in your mind. Because there are so many like the flowers we know when you look when you see the flowers, you say okay, this is the same flower which I have in my garden, or like. But when you hear the name, it's like so so mixed name, like you can't keep that in your mind, and you need not have to do that because it's like MCQ. So the best part in this chapter is that just go and Google it, the name with their examples and all. Okay, so if the picture is there in your mind, then you will not forget. Okay, so in the slides also maximum, like I have tried to capture the pictures for you, and nothing more is there in this chapter. Only the thing is that the example you have to correlate with the characteristics. That's all. Okay. So we have to start with the stem actually. Yeah. So till here it was over, right? So I remember I have shown you these pictures last class for the total parasite and the partial parasite, right? Mistletoe we have seen last class. So any doubts, students, or shall I proceed?
We can
You can
proceed with.
proceed.
Yeah. Yeah, Anjali, can you hear me? Anjali, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, fine. Good evening, Anjali.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah. How was your week?
I was fine, ma'am.
Good. Okay. So we are going to start with the modification of STEM, students. So I don't have today actually the electronic pen, so I can't mark it out. So I'll just try to focus it using the mouse. Okay. So STEM, generally STEM has certain functions, right? Like it main function of the STEM is to support all other parts of the plant, right? But we are going to see the secondary functions of the STEM, which has, like, you have the underground STEM modifications, aerial STEM modifications and all, right? So sometimes the STEM take part as it behave like a root also. So we call it as a underground modification. Okay. So we are going to start with that only. So underground modification. So this type of stems, they remain underground. Okay. Generally when the condition is not favorable. Okay. And they often store food and become fleshy. So if you can see these ginger, turmeric, okay, these are actually, they doesn't require lot of water, or take caring and nursing and all, because they themselves is modifying them to just store the food for themselves. Okay, once the condition changes from unfavorable to favorable, they start giving out the leaves and all. Okay, so you can see that such stems remain underground under unfavorable conditions. They often store food and become fleshy. Rhizome is a well example, ginger, right? Whenever the rhizome word comes to your mind, ginger just correlate it, right? So rhizome, it actually grows horizontally with the help of lateral buds known as symbodial. See students, this one, you have a symbodial rhizome and monopodial rhizome. Rhizome in your 12th standard is only just rhizome, and you have an example of like ginger, turmeric and all. Okay, more than that we don't learn in 12th standard. But when it comes to a NEET, you have to emphasize on two types of rhizome as well. That is symbodial and monopodial. Okay, so symbodial is what? The only difference is that from where it arises, okay, from where this stem starts, So when you see the symbodial, they are starting from the lateral buds. Okay. And when you see the monopodial, they are starting from the terminal bud. I think it's very clear with the buds. Yeah. So I had the diagram also. So you can see here the sympodial and the monopodial. So you can see here, students, just you have to today focus on the arrow marks. I mean the mouse arrow. So you can see that. So you can see that where I'm showing, these are all lateral buds. Lateral means the one which is horizontally growing. Can you see one? Then after that again one, and each and every part is developing from the lateral buds. Okay. But in case of mono, so you can see that in symbodial, like it's growing touching the ground. It's like in this vertical row, because you have first one, then next to that, third, fourth. So they grow in a vertical fashion. Okay. But on the other hand, when you see for the monopodial, they comes from the terminal. What do you mean by, like, this is the plant, so you have a terminal bud, so it grows from here, then it has a terminal, it grows from there. So you can see that it has a erect ejection. Okay. So that's the only difference between the symbodial and monopodial. Rhizome in your syllabus, it's just rhizome, and you don't have these two differences. So when they ask you to in the MCQ, when it comes, you have to really go through again once, twice, that whether they are asking for a terminal bud or whether they are asking for a lateral bud. Okay. That's the only difference, only main thing which you have to keep it in your mind. Okay. So example also varies in that way. Have you seen this lotus and all? They grow actually laterally, but when the lotus comes out, they comes from the last bud, which is the terminal. That's why it just comes, pop up. Okay. It's not lying as like the ginger and all. It's not like lying down to the soil. It pop up because the bud which is towards the end, that only comes out as a flower. Okay, so the best example which they ask in the NEET for the rhizome, that too for the sympodial, is ginger, turmeric and canna. And for the monopodial, they used to ask the lotus and fern. Any fern category, all the plants come under that. Okay, so these two things very clear. Sympodial from the lateral buds, monopodial from the terminal bud. Lateral means lateral buds, one after another. Terminal means to the end. Okay. Next comes COM. I don't know whether it is there or not in your syllabus, but it's there for the NEET. Okay. Rhizome, if you just make it condensed form. Okay, condensed. You cannot see the ginger and all. You can segregate them, right? As I told you just now, that you can spot out one buds and the growth of the rhizome on that. But in this case of the corm, what happens? It's everything is together. You cannot separate that. Like you can take it as in the example of advantageous root. Everything is in bunch. Okay, so they are the condensed form of the rhizome, which is growing vertically. That's the main thing. Okay, which is going vertically. You have colocaceae and amorphophallus. Colocaceae is the frequent example they ask for the, yeah, I didn't get the picture of this. Okay. Colocaceae and amorphophallus. Okay. So these are the condensed form of the rhizome, which are actually growing vertically. Okay. Next one is tuber. You know, students, tuber. The best example is a potato, right? So one very important, potato, it is tuber. It is an underground modification. Everything The one thing which they will ask you, I have seen a question that, eyes are coming from which type of buds? Is it lateral buds? Is it terminal bud? Or is it auxiliary buds? So eyes will develop from auxiliary buds. Okay. So tubers, they have nodes and internodes. They bear the scaly leaves. Okay. With auxiliary buds, those auxiliary buds are actually called as eyes. From smaller classes, they just teach us that it has eyes. Like if you keep potato for some days, you can see that some leafy leaves are coming out, and then it will have a eyes. You take that eyes, put it in the ground, then a new potato comes out. All these things we know, right? The main thing which you have to keep in your mind for this level of aspiration is auxiliary buds are called as eyes. Okay, eyes is a local name which we have given, but the exact terminology is eyes are nothing, they are buds. That's why when you put it in the ground, you will get a new plant. Okay. Next is bulb. 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 Whenever you hear, the two examples should come to your mind: onions and garlic. Okay. But then too, there are in our 12th syllabus, you have just it is onions and garlic. Okay. But you can see that lot of difference are there in the texture of the two type of different bulbs. Okay. So bulb, it is again a condensed disc-like underground stem with conical upper surface, centrally placed apical bud and concentric arranged scaly leaves. Okay, now let me show you the diagram. See, this one, this center, can you see the bud they have written, the center white part? Okay, you might have seen some onions when you just cut them into two halves. In the center, you can clearly take it out, that white part. Okay, it's called as the bud. Which type of bud? Apical bud. Okay, and these concentric leafy surface, okay, they are called as the scaly leaf bases. Okay, so suppose like you might have grown the onions and all in your home to get that what to say, that green thing, na, which comes out, which you use it for the oh, I forgot the name also. What do you call it as? For salads you put, right? It's stem which comes out, the green stem.
Spring ones. Spring
What is it?
onions. The spring onions, right?
It has a name.
Spring onions, right?
Spring onion. Okay, spring onion. Yes, yes, Priya, spring onion. Okay. So just cut it and you can use it for dressing of your salads or your what to say, sandwiches and all, right? So actually, if you want to get that spring onions, what you have to do, the small onions is there, like shallots, that you have to upside down, you have to put inside the soil. Okay. So this part where they have given rule, you have to just put it in the soil. Just put it in the soil, the small onions, the shallots, you just put it in the soil. You can see that from the base part, the roots will start developing. And in the top part, this tunic area only is actually converted into the, just I am forgetting the name, spring onion, right? Okay. So you can see that why that spring onion we are getting, because you have a central bud. You have that apical bud. So from this bud only they are actually emerging out, the green color, the spring onions, right? So one thing you have to keep it in your mind is the apical bud. They have a centrally placed apical buds. Okay. What type of roots they produce? They produce adventitious root. You can see if you, after 15 or 20 days, if you pluck out that onion which you have put inside, you can see bunch of roots down. Okay, and in the bunch of roots only you can see small new onions have grown. Okay, so it's an adventitious type of root. When the fleshy leaves surround apical bud in form of concentric circles, it is called as tunicated bulb. Okay, see students, onion and garlic, what is the main difference is the last two lines. In case of onions, the cover is there, right? The fleshy leaves, they are just merged to each other. You cannot separate it, right? So that's why they are saying that the concentric circles are like merged with each other, which is called as tunicated bulb. Actually, bulb, under bulb there is another subdivision called as tunicated bulb, and onion is the example of that. But when you see garlic, you can easily take out, right? Because they are just partially overlapping, they are not completely merged, or they are not completely making the concentric circles as in case of onions. Okay, so in garlic you can see sometimes when they partially overlap with each other by their margins, just the margins, all you can see the garlics, they all are attached down, right? You just take it out one. Okay, so they are just partially overlapping and they all are connected to the base. Okay, then they are called as the scaly bulbs. Okay, so till now you know that bulb, actually whenever you see bulbs, you have in your mind onions and garlic. But again, now what you have to keep it in your mind, that onions are the type of tunicated bulb, and garlic is an example of the scaly bulb. Okay. And another one thing which you have to keep it in your mind is the apical bud, the name of the bud. They'll ask lot of questions based on the buds, because you can see here itself in this particular slide, you can see how many types of buds we have come across. Lateral buds, terminal buds, then you have the condensed form, then you have the auxiliary buds, and then now you have the apical buds. Okay. So all these things are important. Please write it and keep. Ashwath.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. Good evening,
Yeah,
ma'am.
good
Sorry, ma'am.
evening,
Sorry for
Ashwath.
that.
How are you?
Yes, ma'am. Fine, ma'am.
You are fine. Okay. How was your week?
Yes, ma'am. Fine, ma'am. This week I have read and completed biotechnology, ma'am. First
Great,
one,
great.
principles and processes.
Okay, very interesting chapter. One of my favorite topics.
Yes, ma'am. It was very interesting, ma'am.
If you are really interested in biotechnology, you can, opt for the BSc biotechnology, MSc biotechnology, microbiology, where you have to a lot of time you have to engage yourself in the lab.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Actually, I am preparing for ICAR, ma'am. After that ICAR, my preference is for biotechnology, ma'am.
Okay, good, 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 good. It's a really very interesting field. You can work with microorganisms and you can do research.
Okay,
It's a very
ma'am.
good field.
Yes.
Very less is given in our 12th, very just basic. Because actually I am from that field, so I'm just telling you in depth. So when you very basics are given, but if you want to shine in that biotechnology, it has a good scope. Uh,
Okay, ma'am.
Mainly we can say outside India or like in Bangalore,
Okay,
Mumbai
okay,
and
ma'am.
all. Nice. But you have to study a lot, not only with your BSc, MSc, you have to go for PhD or some sort of research, you have to publish your papers and such. Whichever organism you are interested, you can select that and you can, try to do some research on that. So,
Okay,
it's a
okay,
good
ma'am.
field. Okay. Fine. Okay, Shwet, we have just finished this page.
Okay, ma'am. Modification of. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, so underground modification, I was just telling them. So, can anyone just go give me a Priya? Can you just give me summarize this slide?
Of this slide, ma'am.
Yes, but your voice is not audible. Can you just say something?
Now can you hear me, ma'am?
Yeah. Can you hear Ashwath?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am, but little
The
low. Ma'am.
voice is very low. Okay, Priya, you just start. We'll see.
Ma'am?
Yeah, you can just start.
Okay. So the modification of stem, we are seeing about the modification of stem. First we're going to see about the underground modification.
Okay.
Like the stem remains underground under
Yeah.
the unfavorable conditions.
Yeah.
Then they often store food and become fleshy.
Okay. During this condition, they often like to store the food and become fleshy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first thing is rhizome.
Yeah.
They grow horizontally, ma'am. Like
Yeah.
lateral buds are produced.
So rhizome are actually of two types. What are they?
Sympodial rhizome
Yeah,
and monopodial
sympodial rhizome and monopodial. Okay, on what basis we can differentiate them? Just one thing which we have to keep it in our mind.
So if the bud is grown horizontally like lateral buds,
Very
it's
good.
known as sympodial.
Yeah,
And if it is a terminal bud, it is known as monopodial rhizomes.
monopodial. Very good. The examples mainly you have to keep it in your mind. For the sympodial is ginger and turmeric, and for your monopodial you have to keep it in your minds. The mind, lotus and all type of ferns, right? Okay, what is corm?
Corm is a condensed form of rhizome, ma'am.
Yeah, it's like
Grows
fused
vertically.
form. They grow vertically.
And
The example, okay. So corm is different from rhizome because corm is a very the fused form of the rhizome type. You cannot segregate as you segregate the ginger and all. And if you see the rhizomes, they mainly grow lateral down to the earth. But in this case corm, you can see that they grow vertically. Okay, colocasia is a very good example for corm, right? Tuber, the main thing which you have to keep it in your mind is what?
it has nodes and internodes.
Yeah.
and it has scaly leaves.
Okay, where the scaly leaves develop, that also you have to keep it in your mind that scaly leaves are developed only at the nodes and internodes. Okay, that is only at nodes. You should not say internode. Internode is a distance between two nodes. So actually the leaves will develop in the nodes. Internode is nothing but the distance between the two nodes are called as internode. So that we have to just take it as a terminology. So the leaves leaves will develop at nodes, and they will have the buds also. What type of buds? It is auxiliary bud, and the auxiliary bud is only called as what?
Eyes.
Yeah, eyes. Okay. Okay, thank you, Priya. Subhashri, can you just tell me what is bulb?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's also a condensed. It is also in condensed form, and
Okay, so first thing you have to keep it in your mind that what type of bud they have?
they have apical buds,
Apical bud. Okay. And what type of roots they have?
and they have adventitious root.
Adventitious root. Okay. And under this bulb, actually two types comes. One is tunicated bulb and another one is scaly bulb. Right? So the onions are the example of tunicated bulb, because if all the fleshy leaves are fused with each other, then those will be the example of the tunicated type of bulb. Okay, but in case of garlic, you can see that they just overlap. They are just touched by their margins. You can segregate them. Okay, so such type of bulbs are called as scaly bulbs. Okay, clear, Ashwath? Ashwath, you're not there. Okay, fine. Good. Thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to the next one, students. Yeah, this diagram I have shown. Yeah. Now we have the aerial modifications, right? So aerial modification, like you have, let me see which all diagrams I have. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to show you here, students. See, I was talking about auxiliary bud, right? So this is called as auxiliary bud. That is, you have a leaf. Okay, you should understand, like terminal bud, I told you, the bud which is present at the end, terminal area. Okay, lateral also I told you, which is like your stem will be going like in parallel with the soil. Okay, soil layer, and the buds just come out. They're called as lateral buds. But this axillary bud, which you really understand what you mean by that, because this axillary bud has lot of modifications. Okay, so this is called as the axillary bud. That is, it just, you know, this is the stem, right? This is the stem, and this bud is a modification of the stem, and you can see that it acts as a bud. That's why next to that you can see a leaf has come out. Sometimes leaves come out, sometimes you have the flowers which grow at the axillary bud, sometimes you have other modification which actually comes in the bud. Okay, so these are called as the axillary buds. Okay, you can see here, from there one leaf has come out, from here you can see one leaf has come out. Okay, so they are called as the, actually but this is actually thorns. Okay, I'll tell you why it is thorn. Here actually bud will be there. Okay, bud will be there. Next to that bud, some flowers or the leaves will come out. Okay, so why I said this? Yeah, so aerial modification. Now we are coming to aerial part, above the soil, right? So you have tendrils. Tendrils, you all know, right? Tendrils, like they just coil themselves. Okay, they just coil, like you have all the pumpkins and all. So if you see their stems, they just coil themselves just to get the support, because naturally their stems are very weak. Okay, so tendrils, auxiliary bud. That's why I've shown you that diagram. Okay, so yeah, I'll just finish and then I'll show you the picture. Auxiliary buds will get modified into thin, wiry, sensitive structure called as tendril. Very important, students. What are actually this tendril? Is it a stem? Is it a root? Is it a leaf? No, nothing. It's actually the bud. The bud, it grows like a stem in a coiled structure, and we call them as tendril. Did you understand? So very important. The auxiliary bud which has modified itself in the form of a stem, which we call it as a tendrils. Okay, tendrils are leafless. Okay, you can see that in the tendrils a leaf will not come. It doesn't mean that the complete plant will not have. Plants will have in other parts, but the portion, the axillary bud, which is actually converting into a tendrils, over the tendrils you cannot spot out any leaf. Okay, they may ask you. Okay, coiled with the very important, they have sensitive adhesive gland. That's why if you keep a stick or if you keep any support, they just stick on that and they coil around, because they have some glands, adhesive glands, which secrete some adhesive, some pasty items, so that whenever you give a support or if it is near to a wall or something else, it just stick on that and start coiling. Okay, so they have a sensitive adhesive glands. Okay, these are all the examples, students. Passiflora, there are a lot of examples. Okay, but I have just taken the examples which I have just have seen in some of the books, that the questions have come from this example. I have just taken those. Okay, so you have Passiflora, passion flower. Okay, the best example. Then you have the now you see here, these are all forming the tendrils. Okay, but there are some which are forming other than the auxiliary, like those plants in which there are no auxiliary buds. If there is an auxiliary bud, then 100% sure they will come out from the auxiliary bud. But what if the plant doesn't have an auxiliary bud? They give rise to some apical buds, or they give rise to some floral buds. Okay, so floral buds, the one actually which, if you see the floral buds, that bud will be there. One side there will be a flower, another side you will have a tendril. Okay, so since that bud gives rise to flower, we call it as a floral bud. Okay, so this is very, very important, students, that this type of bud, this type of tendril, and what is the example? Like Passiflora, it is a type of tendril which actually comes out from the axillary bud. Okay, Vitis is a example of a tendril which arises from the apical bud. Cucurbita, cucumber, okay, it has a extra axillary bud. And then Antigonone has a floral bud. It's very important for 1 marks MCQ. Okay, 1 minute, I'll give you time. So this picture, can you see? Can you see here? It is coming out from the buds. Can you see? From the bud, one leaf has come and it is coming out from there. Can you see how they are getting adhesed and they are getting coiled? See here. So you can see it is coming from different regions, and see what all shape and all these tendrils. We'll learn about the different shapes also. Okay. So this is the axillary bud, because most of the tendrils you can see that they're coming out from the axillary bud. So like bougainvillea is another very good example. Okay. So you can see that from different places they actually come out. So they have a very woody stem as well. I mean, it will not be woody. We should not say woody, very weak stem. If they have a woody stem, then why they need this tendrils? Because tendrils, it's a gifted part to just give support to the plant, right? So these examples are very important, students. Okay. Next one is modification. Modification. We are talking about the modification. Okay. So some stems, they get modified. Okay. We should not say stem, but the auxiliary buds, they get modified as thorns. See, as I told you in last class, that modifications we are doing, plants are doing, animals are doing, living beings are doing, just to sustain themselves to the changing environment. Yes, we modify ourselves for what? To get adjusted to something we are not able to adapt, right? So in the same way, thorns are actually is also modified for some protection. Thorns, you know, right? In a plant, thorns are there for what purpose? Just for protection, so that you don't go and destroy them. The grazing animals don't go and destroy them. Okay. And there are some other examples, some other reason also for thorns, like you see in the deserted areas like cactus and all, they have thorns. So for what they have thorns? To reduce the transpiration process, right? You know what is transpiration? The loss of water from the plant body. So already the desert has lack of water. Okay, the plants will be in the unfavorable water condition. So if they lose lot of water, then it's difficult to survive there. So it's God gift that those plants which are there in the desert, their leaves are converted into spines. We call them as spines. Okay, so thorns have different purpose. Okay, so here the thorns is actually the modification of the auxiliary bud. Just now I've shown you, right? That was for the auxiliary bud, which is modified into a thorn. Modified to reduce transpiration. Just now I told you, sometimes the thorns are modified to just reduce the loss of water from themselves, which is called as transpiration, to reduce the process of transpiration. Then leaves, branches and flowers developed on thorns at nodes indicate that it is a modified stem. Okay, now the thing is that one first time when the thorns were discovered, okay, that time they don't know whether this is a stem or what is this, whether it is a new organ which has come out. Then how they can say that thorn is a stem? How they found out that thorn is actually the modified stem? Because where the thorn was there, next to that itself, you have just seen in the picture, right? You have a thorn, next to from that bud itself a leaf is coming out. It means what? It is a stem, because you know that on the stem only you will have the flowers, fruits, leaves and all. So that's why they said that this thorn is a modified stem. Did you understand? That's the meaning of that particular para. So which made us assure that these thorns are the modified stem, because in that particular auxiliary bud which had modified into a thorn, we can see that even the flowers, leaves and branches were developing. Okay, example, you know, citrus, our lemon. Okay, lemon plant, you can see there are a lot of thorns. If you have a lemon plant in your home, you just go and see, they will be the thorns are developed only in the auxiliary bud. Just now I've shown you, right? Like that. Duranta, Carissa. Yeah. So Carissa, I have given you here, students, this bougainvillea, citrus and Duranta, they have the thorns which are modified auxiliary bud. But this Carissa, please, these and all put up in the exception. Carissa have apical bud which has developed into the thorns. Okay, so mostly thorns are the modified auxiliary bud, but Carissa is a an exception, where it is where in that particular plant the thorns are developing from the apical bud, not from the auxiliary bud. See, all the diagrams to pick up was difficult, students, because the slides were really increasing in number. So I have just taken few pictures to show you. Okay, you please Google out all these plants. Carissa, bougainvillea, I have bougainvillea, you know, right? And bougainvillea I have in other slide also. Citrus, you know, you can see what is Duranta and all. Okay, so whichever names are coming, if you just Google them and see the picture, those will be the flowers which are actually in your garden. Okay, not the very rare that you have not seen that those flowers and all, right? So this slide is clear for aerial modification.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Hepsi. Others, give me a reaction. Priya, Subhashri, Nivi, Anjali. Thank you. Anjali. Ashwath, can you hear? Yeah, thank you, Anjali. Ashwath, can you hear me? Okay, you have some network issue, Ashwath. Okay, Ashwath, if you can't switch on your mic, you can use the reaction, students, those who are like facing difficulty with their switching on and off of their mic. Okay, fine. So I'm just moving on to the next one. Very important. Okay, very important. This phylloclade or cladophyll. Phylloclade name you might have come across. Okay, in your NCERT book also you have, but it is also called as cladophyll. Okay, that you have to write and keep, phylloclade or cladophyll. Okay, now this is what, it's a modified stem, of course. This stem will get modified into a leaf. 1 minute, I have the diagram. Okay, I'll show you. So in this, what happened, the stem will get modified into a leaf. Okay, and they will have nodes and internodes on that. For example, Opentia. So you can see Opentia's diagram. I will show you Opentia, Opentia. Okay, this is the Opentia. You can see this leaf-like structure is there, right? This leaf-like structure. This I think most of you will have in your home. We use it as a decorative plant also, right? So this is Opentia, students. In this, actually, this leaf is not this leaf. It looks like leaf, but it's not actually leaf. It's actually stem which has modified itself into a leaf-like structure. Okay, and you can see small. They are actually thorny. When you touch, it will be like thorns, but they are not actually thorns. Okay, we feel it as a thorn, but actually these thorns have come in the nodes and internodes. Okay, so you can see it is modified in the leaf. So cylindrical shape modification of stem, that is Casuarina and Euphorbius. In this, what I have written, actually, they have asked in one of the NEET paper that the stem, okay, which has modified itself into a leaf, that too a leaf with a cylindrical shape. Give emphasis on this cylindrical. Okay, so leaf, actually, how will you draw? The leaf normal shape will be what? It's like a convex lens. You draw like this, right? Convex. So, but here they are asking you an example where the stem has modified itself to a cylindrical shape leaf. Okay, Casuarina is a very good example. Casuarina, no, I have not taken Casuarina. Casuarina, you know, students, that it's a nitrogen fixer. Okay, it fixes nitrogen in the root nodules, Casuarina. Okay, so that actually its leaves, you can see that its stem, you can see that it has modified itself to the leaf, that too in a cylindrical shape. Okay, so Casuarina and Euphorbias. Okay, next you have the cladode, green branches of limited growth, just one internode long. Okay, their stems, if you see, will be this much. True leaves are reduced to spines, and over that small branch you will have small spines. Those spines are nothing but the leaves. Okay, those spines are nothing but the leaves. In case of asparagus, you have seen, right? Asparagus, see here, I have the diagram. This is the thing. This is asparagus. Okay, so you can see that this much only is the branch. Only it will grow like this only. It will come in a bunch. Okay, it will come in a bunch. So it will be only this much length. It will not grow, just very this much only growth. And can you see on that they have like thorns? Thorns, they don't have a leaf. Okay, the branch will be like this. It will be green in color. It will be green in color, and it will have small thorns, which are nothing but the leaves, which have modified themselves to this thorns. Okay, and towards the end, can you see they will have the flowers? Okay, so yeah, so green branches, green, students, green. Can you see here also? This is also green. Actually, this particular slide I have mainly, you can put up a topic also. All those stems which have modified themselves into something of green color. So most of them, they actually does the photosynthesis. Okay, so first is the phylloclade, where the stem has modified into a green color leaf. Next one is the cladode, where the branches, small branches, okay, just one internode. The one internode means what? One node will be, there will be two nodes and that gap, that is called as one internode. Okay, in one branch there will be only two nodes. Okay, so just one internode long those branches will be, and over that branches they will have, you will have a small spines. They are what? They are the modified leaves. Okay, true leaves, students, why are they saying it as true leaves? Because that leaf can perform the photosynthesis. That's why they have used the word true leaves. So they will ask you whether those leaves can perform. Yes, because they are the true leaves which are actually converted into a scales or a spines. Okay, asparagus is the only example which they always used to ask. Another one, students, they have fasciculated roots. Okay, tuberous. I told you it come as a bunch, right? So it is actually a tuberous fasciculated roots. I have not seen any grammar, or it is not a full fledged, neat grammatical sentence which I have written on the slide. When I was referring, wherever I'm getting the points, I'm just inserting it. Okay. So when I'm giving you the explanation, please write it in a form which, after 5 or 6 months, when you take it out, you'll be able to understand. Okay. So asparagus, mostly these cladodes will have a tuberous fasciculate roots. Okay. Next comes, see, this is, you can call it as bulbils. Okay. Some say bulbils. Okay. I call it as bulbils. Okay. So in case of the bulbils, you can see here, students, that very, very important. Can you see this? Actually, I wanted to show you with the fruits. Okay, but I didn't take that picture because if I show you the fruit, you cannot identify and keep it in your mind. Actually, this plant you might have seen. It's like completely covered. It will be like this only, like a mountain it will be. And you cannot see any area without the leaf. It exactly looks like this. When you travel in train and all, you might see these type of plants in the forest area and all. Okay, so this is actually why it got the name as bulbils, right? They are actually auxiliary bud. They're auxiliary buds. They become fleshy and rounded. Bulbils, they are getting the name because of the round shape. Okay, that round shape actually it is edible. They eat the fruit of this. Okay, so it's, and what is that fruit now? It is the bud which get modified. Okay, so actually what happened, the stem will be there, the stemler, they will have the stem will get modified into auxiliary bud, and that particular auxiliary bud will start storing the food. Okay, now bulbils is not the main thing in this. Main thing is the example, Dioscorea. It's a very important medicinal plant, I can say. It's a very important medicinal plant. In the Ayurveda channels and all, you might have seen this plant a lot. Okay, this is the plant which actually produces the female hormones. Okay, so those females who are having difficulty in their normal menstrual cycle, or they have a problem with getting pregnancy. Okay, so the tablets which the Ayurveda doctors they give, okay, the pills which they give is actually mainly the fruit, that is the Dioscorea, the fruit of this bulbulus. Okay, Dioscorea, it actually produces something called as Dioscorsin. This Dioscorsin is only that medicine. They will take that fruit. Okay, they will take the fruit of that. The plant name is Dioscorea. The plant name is Dioscorea, which I have shown you now. It's a Dioscorea plant. Okay, that plant, it produces, we suck out this Dioscorsin. This Dioscorsin, only when you consume it, it will produce estrogen and progesterone in our body. So many pregnancy related ailments, or the normal hormonal, female hormonal related ailments are actually in Ayurveda, Siddha and all, they used to correct it using this plant. Okay, so it's a very important MCQ, students. Generally that bulbils and all, they will not ask you for other things and all, but this Dioscorea main, that example is very, very important. Okay, so am I clear? So all the three plants I have given you here, students. Opentia, this is, this is the one I was telling you, the plant. Okay, Dioscorea, and this is the asparagus. Okay, you can see the asparagus is coming. You can see from here down, and it will just come to this length, backside and all. You can see it comes in a fasciculated root. It comes in a bunch. It grows as a bunch. Okay, so am I clear? You want to note it down, you can note it down. Clear, students, this part?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So now next we have the subaerial modification. Actually, this subaerial modification, it lies between the underground and aerial. Okay, it lies actually in between. Subaerial means just above the soil layer. Okay, so runners, you know, all the plants which actually run on the soil. If you just put the seed here, you can see after 1 or 2 months it has just spread on that particular area. Like you have the cucumbers, all the melons and all, right? Pumpkin, all those things. So they all come under this category. Okay, so their stem is so weak that they can't stand straight, erect. Okay, that's why they just roll over the ground. So runner prostrate branches develop from base of erect shoots called crowns. Okay, very important information. It is not there in NCERT, students. The branches are called as prostrate. Prostrate means which cannot stand still. They're very weak. They just lie down in the soil. Okay, that's called as the prostrate. Okay, so they have a prostrate branch which develop from the base of erect shoot. Actually, these runners will be how now? When they develop, they just come little up. Okay, then they lie down. Do you understand? So they will have a small erect shoot. That's why I've written here erect shoot. They will have a small erect shoot. Then from that erect shoot order, base in the it starts developing. It starts, sleeping over the ground. So it's a prostrate. Branches name is very, very important. It's called as prostrate branches. The prostrate branch, and from where it will develop from the base of the erect shoot. What is the erect shoot called as? It's called as crowns. So if I just shrink this, I can say that the prostrate branches developing from the crowns. Okay, so prostrate branches develop from base of erect shoots called as the crowns. Okay, so runners spread in different directions. You see, the very good example is actually your grass, the lawn grass. It's like if you have a lawn in front, lawn, LAWN, lawn in front of your home, then you used to put the grass, for the decoration, the small grasses. So you can see that if one place, if you put, it will just grow in all the directions. Okay, so the lawn grass is a common name. So its botanical name is Cynodon dactylon. Okay, so this is a lawn grass. What diagram I have? I'll just see. Yeah, see, I have the runner's diagram. Okay, this is the oxalis. Can you see oxalis, how it is growing? Like it is like there will be only one, so it has just come in all the directions. Okay, and you just feel a bunch of that plant, that particular pot, it will just spread like this. Okay, oxalis, this is oxalis. So a lawn grass, grass, so I have not taken the diagram. Oxalis and also hydrocotyls, okay, that I have not taken. Okay, so these two, oxalis and the grass. So runners spread in different directions and bear new crowns above and tufts of advantageous roots below. So how they will be, students? See here, I'll just show you. See, this will be okay. So you will have a small crown with a tuft of roots down. From the base of the crown, the runner comes. Then again you will have a small crown with tuft of root. Then again the root will come. Okay, so you will have a crown on the top. Down you will have tuft of roots. From the base of the crown, the new comes out. Okay, so it's not like it is completely underlying the soil. Okay, so yeah, then runner has one or more nodes which bear the leaves and auxiliary buds. Yes, of course, it will have only one or two nodes because it's going to be very short erect roots. The roots are not going to, the shoots are not going to be very in lengthy. It's not going to grow lengthy, so the shoots are going to be very, very small. So how many nodes and internodes will it have? One or two only, and it will have two or three leaves, some buds, that's all. Just exactly the same picture which I have shown you now. Okay, the same picture here, you can see it will have just one or two nodes, it will have two or three leaves, some one or two buds. Okay, that's all. Okay, so oxalis I have shown you now. Okay, the next same type like runner, you have something called as stolon. This and all is there from your 9th 8th standard itself, it is there students, but only thing is that some one or two points which are important, like you have the prostrate branches, then you have the crowns. Okay, all those things which are really, really important. Okay, now you have stolon. So stolon, it grows upward like an ordinary branch and then bends down and touches the soil, where its terminal bud give rise to a new shoot and advantageous root. Okay, jasmine. Jasmine, what will happen, students? If you grow that jasmine, it actually comes out as a normal plant. Then it starts bending. Okay, it will bend, it will go deep in the soil, little deep in the soil. As it touch the soil, from the touching area, suppose this is the soil now, it is growing like this and it has touched, from that touching area a new shoot comes out. Okay, the difference between the runner and this is that only about the what to say about the bud. So what will happen? This, wherever this terminal bud touches, there only the new plant comes out. In case of the stolon, but it is not here. Like if you have a crown, from this direction one, from this direction one, from this direction one, it goes in all the direction. In case of runner, okay, they will be just scattered in all the direction. But in case of stolon, it's not like that. The stem will grow, bend, and from the terminal only one comes out. It's, you can say it's a unidirectional. It's straight down, one came, then down, one came, so it's actually in one direction. But in case of runner, it is actually in a multi-directional. That's the only difference between the runner and stolon. Okay, and both have the advantageous root. Strawberry, students, strawberries, I'll show you strawberry diagram I had. See here, strawberries, can you see? Very beautiful diagram. So this has actually gone down. Just see the mouse like that arrow. So this was the main plant, it has grown. From there you can see it is now down, from there it has come out. Okay, so you cannot see all the directions, like going in one, if this direction or in this direction, each and every branch will go in only one directions. Did you understand? So you can see the difference between this and this. It looks like a bunch, okay, because it is spreading in all the direction, but it will not look like a bunch. You will have a nice gap in between. This gap will be there. Okay, but here you cannot see the gap at all. It will, because it's everywhere, it's spreading. Can you understand what is the difference between the runner and stolon? You got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is the main difference between the runner and the stolon. Okay, so yeah, here also you have to see terminal bud. Terminal bud is important. Okay, and jasmine, strawberry, they used to ask frequently. Okay, jasmine and strawberry are the examples for stolon. And for the runner, you have the lawn grass. Please keep it in your mind, the botanical name also. Oxalis, just now I have shown you purple color flowers, right? That is oxalis. Hydrocotyl I have not taken. Okay, this is oxalis, because oxalis they have asked many times. Oxalis, it will be purple colored. Okay, so if you want to write, you can write, students. Clear? So shall I move on to the next one?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So next we have, yeah, same category. Okay, same category. You have offset and sucker also. Yeah, these two are also there. Okay, so the same category students, the same thing. You have runner, stolen, then you have offset and sucker. Okay, they all comes because you can see that they all, like, if I explain, they all are same. They just roll over the soil, I can say. Okay, but small difference, because of which they have been categorized as runner, stolen, offset, or sucker. Okay, so only thing you have to identify is with the picture. Offset first, how, what is a major difference which, offset differentiate it from the other group is, it's a runner of aquatic plant. Okay, it's a runner of aquatic plants. So you can see the offsets are mainly aquatic plants. Okay, shorter and thicker than runner. So runner, when you see the runner, more than shorter and thicker they will be. Okay, they'll be shorter, but they'll be more thicker than the runner. Helps in vegetative propagation in aquatic plants. I show you water hyacinth. Okay, water hyacinth you have seen. This one. This is water hyacinth. You might have seen, like, if you see the stagnant water and all, you can see this water hyacinth. Okay, it will be completely like algae. It will be bloomed on the surface of the water. Okay, it's called as water hyacinth. So Ecomia is its botanical name. Please keep Ecomia also in your mind. And Pistia is also an example which they are used to ask. Okay, so main thing, aquatic. Okay, it's an aquatic plant. And one more thing, students, you see that it is also a runner. Okay, this offset is also a branch of runner. If the runner is present in water, we call it as an offset. I can say like that. So it's a runner of aquatic plants. They are more shorter but thicker than the runner. They help in vegetative propagation. If you just cut this water hyacinth and you just put it in the water, it will grow. Okay, so they mainly do it in the vegetative propagation of this aquatic plants, because it is a very good feed for the aquatic animals. Most of the fishes and all, actually, they take this water hyacinth as a feed, as well as it also helps to improve the BOD level, the biological oxygen demand in the water. Okay, so it has a good application in aquatic area. So this plant has a good vegetative propagation ratio also. If you just cut and put this, it just grows. Okay, so water hyacinth and the pistia. Sucker, I'll show you sucker. It's a, see, you can see that this offset and sucker, okay, they are both actually the runners. Okay, this is the runner of the aquatic plant. This is an underground runner. Okay, so if you see, I have just not, yeah, see students here, this is a sucker. Okay, can you see this sucker? Why I have taken this diagram, I'll show you according to the point. Wait. So the sucker, it is an underground runner like non-green branch which develop from the axil of the scale leaf in underground part of the stem. So you have some underground part of the stem, right? You have a stem, and down to the soil also you have small stem. Then only the roots come out, right? So exactly, actually, what to say? This is a subaerial, but like now what we are seeing is the subaerial. Okay, but this sucker is a confusion, because if you see the starting point, okay, if you see the starting point of this particular sucker, it's actually coming from the stem portion which is underground. That's why it is called as an underground runner. But it soon comes out. It comes out and grow just below the soil. So they have kept it under the category of the subaerial. But if you see the starting point, it is the stem which is just down the soil. Okay, so it is a runner like non-green branch. It is not green. which develop from the axil of the scale leaf in underground part of the stem. Okay, grows horizontally below the soil for some distance and then comes above the soil obliquely and produce green leaves to form aerial shoots. See students, I told you it is the stem. Okay, it's developed from the stem which is just down the soil. So what it will do, it will grow for some time down the ground itself. Okay, it will just grow for some time down the ground, then it shoot up to the top. Did you understand? So it grows horizontally below the soil, for some distance and then comes above the soil obliquely. Obliquely means not vertically, it comes like this, like a slanting way. So that's why I have actually taken the picture. Can you see the growth? It is exactly in a slanting way. Can you see it's coming like this? It's just coming. You can see there are many. Can you see just many are there? Okay, that picture is not clear, but this one like it's coming obliquely. And if you see the starting point, it will be there deep under the, not deep under the, just down the soil to the axil leaf. Did you understand? So it's like grows horizontally below the soil for some distance and then comes above soil obliquely and produce green leaves. Earlier it is actually a green, it is not a green branch. In the starting it's not a green, but when it comes out, it acts as a normal stem bearing the green leaves to form a normal aerial shoot. Okay, mint. I was talking this much actually. Wanted to say the mint. Okay, Podina, mint is there, right? It's the example. Have you seen the mint? Some portion will be down the soil and suddenly it comes out. And then it will have a beautiful, green leaves which we actually use as a mint. Okay, chrysanthemum flowers are also the same thing. It grows down and suddenly it comes out and it starts blooming. Clear students, the offset and the sucker? So see, I have given you the sentences which they'll be exactly asking you in the NEET and which will help you to differentiate the things. So if they're asking suckers, you can see that it grows horizontally, then comes out of the soil, obligate growth over the soil. Okay, then it develops from the base of the stem. Okay, so these are certain 2-3 hints which will help you to find out that actually which type of runner is this. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear students? Others, I need some reactions. Are you all there? Nivi, thank you. Others?
Clear, ma'am.
Yeah, it's clear, right? Hepsi, Priya.
Clear, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, fine. So then I have, yeah, that's all for the STEM students. Okay. So whatever I told you, those names with mainly the examples with the pictures, you keep it in your mind. Okay, so when it is coming the suckers, you should just keep it in your mind that obligate, just below the stem from the axillary leaf. Okay, when they talk about the offset, you have to see that water hyacinth. So that's why I'm showing you with the picture. If I just say the example is water hyacinth, most of the names you don't know, right? Because maybe you know the plant you have seen, but this is the water hyacinth or this is the oxalis. Okay, or this is the opentia. You don't know. So when I show you this, it will be very clear in your mind. The pictures will be there in your mind. Okay, this is the only way, as I told you in the starting of the class, to learn this chapter. Okay, nothing else. Okay, leaf. Okay, leaf in your NCERT book you have leaf. So I think leaves structure is there. Okay, and then you have the venation, right? You have the reticulate and the parallel venation. That's all for you in the leaf, okay, in your book. So but here I have not taken those points. I have taken, of course, the modification. Very only 2 slides are there. Okay, so I have not taken that parallel and palmately and all, right? I have just taken the other things that you can read from your NCERT itself. Okay, so leaf, it is an exogenous in origin. Okay, like it is an outer part. born at nodes on the stem. Always the leaves will come out from the nodes. Okay. Auxiliary bud present in axil of each leaf. Students, you know, leaf diagram I have not taken actually, right? So leaf, okay, when you see the leaf, down to leaf, you will have the bud. Okay, that is the stem portion to which this leaf is attached. Down to that, you can see that you will have the buds. Those buds are called as the auxiliary buds. Okay, they doesn't possess apical bud, students. If you take a leaf, have you seen in the end portion, apical means the terminal. Okay, the leaf doesn't have any terminal bud and all. If it has a terminal bud, then what will happen? It will just keep on growing, because you know that wherever a bud is there, a new leaf come out or a new flower comes out, whatever it is. Okay, so if you have a terminal or a apical bud, what will happen? There will be one leaf, then after that another one leaf, after that another one leaf. It's not like that. Okay, so the leaf, it doesn't possess any of the apical buds. It has just the auxiliary buds. Okay, or a regular growing point. Yeah, its growth is limited, right? After to a certain size it grows, then it just stops. Leaf base. So leaf base, you might have this name, leaf base. Okay, and I think it's called as, no, they have not given. They have given in the in our 11th standard, they have given us just leaf base. I think the label was also leaf base. Okay, the leaf base, the down portion of the leaf to which it is attached to the stalk, we say, right? Stalk, the pedicel of that. Okay, so that particular is called as a leaf base. Okay, that is actually called as hypopodium. The leaf base where you have the auxiliary bud, you have a pedicel and all, it's called as a hypopodium. So actually, before that, I wanted to say that the complete leaf is actually divided into 3 podiums. Okay, the complete leaf, it's actually divided into 3 podiums. You have hypopodium, you have mesopodium, then you have epipodium. Okay, so what is the hypopodium? It's a leaf base. Stalk is only that leaf base is like the complete where you have the veins, everything you can take in that, right? No, that will come as a epipodium. Leaf base is just before the stalk. Okay, so I was actually having one diagram. No, see, if I show you in this, so if leaf is there, so you will have a leaf. Okay, then you will have a stalk. Okay, then you have a stalk, and then down to where it is attached, that particular stem, auxiliary bud, those 3 regions you can divide it. Okay, so if you divide it in that way, you will have the leaf base as the hypopodium. Your stalk will be called as a mesopodium. Then the leaf is called as a epipodium. Okay, so where it is attached to the stem, or where you have that buds, those we can say it is hypopodium. Then you have a small kuchi, right? That is called as the stalk, or we call it as a mesopodium. Then you have a leaf, which is called as the epipodium. Okay. Next is venation. Venation, you have, you know what is venation, right? Arrangement of the veins. Okay. So veins are conducting strands of lamina. That area is called as lamina, right? Lamina. That is the same word which is there in NCERT, lamina. Over the lamina only you will have the veins going on, right? So they are the conducting strands. You know, right? What is the function? As we have arteries and veins, in the same way, the veins in the leaves are also for what purpose? To conduct the water and the food. So they are called as the conducting strands of lamina. You have parallel venation and reticulate venation. I have not taken the examples because it is there in your book itself. You have to keep one thing in your mind, which they often used to ask, that parallel venations are mainly seen in the monocots. Okay, and reticulate venation is seen in the dicot plants. This you have to keep it in your mind. Parallel venation is seen in the monocots and reticulate venation is seen in the dicots. Veins are nothing but they are the conducting strands of lamina. These words we never use it in our NCERT or it is out of NCERT, so I have just written, okay. So veins are nothing but the conducting strands of the lamina, okay. Now you have hypopodium, right? Here I told you hypopodium, okay. Now you have a pulvinus. Pulvinus is also there in your NCERT, right? Pulvinus. You can see the base of the leaf will be sometimes very swollen. Okay, it will be very swollen, which we call it as a pulvinus. So which part is actually swollen? The leaf base. We can say hypopodium. So in the MCQ, they'll ask you that pulvinus is a part of which podium? So it is actually hypopodium. Leaf base may be swollen called pulvinus, and you can see this very clearly in the touch-me-not plant. Have you seen touch-me-not plant's base? It will be so thick, okay, and in the leguminous plants and all. So pulvinus can be seen in the leguminous plants and the touch-me-not plant. Leaf base, so yeah, now actually here what they are trying to say, the modifications of hypopodium, okay. So if the hypopodium is swollen, we call it as pulvinus, okay, in case of leguminous plants and touch-me-not. If the leaves base is in the form of a cover, a sheath, okay, mostly in the monocot plants, you can see that the leaf base will modify themselves in the form of a cover, a sheath, okay. Next, you can see that pair of lateral outgrowths on either side of the axillary buds are called as stipules. Stipules, have you seen the stipules? 1 minute.
Small spines like things.
Stipules is there in your book, students. Stipules, like if you have this particular stem, if you will have in the both the sides those stipules, okay. Both sides you will have small leaf like structure which called as stipules, okay. It actually what those stipules are, before the leaves are coming, okay, they act as a covering bud, these stipules, okay. Yeah, so pair of lateral outgrowth on either side of the bud, which is called as stipules or stipulated leaves, okay. Absence of stipules, if the leaf is not having the stipules, we call it as exstipulate leaf, okay. And what is the function of these stipulates? I just told you, right? It will protect the bud. So various informations are here, students, that hypopodium, if it is swollen, it is called as the pulvinus. Sometimes in the monocot plants, you can see that the hypopodium, it acts as a sheath, okay. Then about the stipulated and the exstipulated leaves, okay. So what are stipulates? They are the pair of lateral outgrowth on either side of the axillary bud. If you have a bud like this, both the side the leaf will be there, okay. So what they will do, they are actually the protection for this, like you have the sepals, okay. So sepals, what we say, petals soda protection, okay. In the same way, for the bud protection, you can see that down you will have this stipules, okay. So if the plants are having stipules, then we call it as a stipulated leaves. If they are not having the stipules, we call it as a exstipulated leaves, okay. So which bud am I talking here? I'm not talking here the bud which will give rise to a flower. I'm talking here about the auxiliary bud. Okay, this bud only will give rise to a leaf, right? So before these buds are opened into a leaf form, this bud needs to be protected. Who will do the protection work? The stipulated leaves. So you have actually stipulated leaves. First the stipulated leaves come out. Then the stipulated leaf will have a bud. And then that bud only develops into a leaf. So when we say bud, don't think that's a flower bud. Okay, it's a each and every part of the plant, whether it is a leaf or a flower or a fruit, it actually comes from a small bud which develops on the node. Okay, so is it clear? Ashwath is not there inside. Who left? Angel. Only Ashwath has left. There are 8 participants, but only 6 are shown. Okay. So Ashwath was fine. Clear, students, this one?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Others also, if you have any doubt. Okay.
No, ma'am.
Fine. So yeah, now the modifications only actually I have shown these 2 diagrams, students. Okay, beautiful diagram this is. Okay, so you see here one of the leaf is actually modified into spine. Can you see here? So why? See, it is actually not that leaf is converted into a spine or a thorn. Okay, it's not like that. Here you will have a bud. Okay, here you have a bud, actually like this bud. Okay, like can you see this portion, this portion, this portion? So this and this is same, but from this portion, leaf has come out. This portion has converted itself into the thorns. So that's why we say that this is a modification of leaf. So instead of the leaf coming out, you can see that thorns have come out. After that, you can see the leaf is there. You can see this side a leaf is there. Okay. So certain auxiliary buds, they have converted themselves into a thorns. Okay. So they come under the modification of leaves. So it's called as leaf spines. Xerophytic plants like Opentia. Opentia I have shown you. Okay. Again, this is an example of Opentia only. Okay. So I told you there, right? The stem is actually converted into the leaf. So that's why Opentia is actually a modification of both. Okay. So xerophytic plants like Opentia. Xerophytic, you remember, like I've taken mesophytic, xerophytic, and hydrophytic. So xerophytic means xerophytic means the plants which grow in a very less water area. Okay. So they need to have a control on their transpiration, loss of water. Okay. So that's why their leaves are modified into spines. I told you cactus and all other xerophytic plants. Even you can write cactus. So stipules, actually what gets converted to the spine, students, in case of the Opentia and all, the stipules. Okay, the stipules only, just now I told you stipules are what? They are the covering for the bud. Okay, so the stipules are getting converted into the spines. Okay, so Ziziphus, acacia and all are the examples of the leaf which have modified themselves into the spines. Okay, then you have leaf hooks. Actually, this only a diagram I wanted to show you. Okay, they will have 3 leaflets. Okay, which get modified into 3 hooks. It will be like this, hook. Okay, and they are actually for support. These leaves are modifying themselves into the hook to get support, as we have in the stem tendrils, right, which are coiling themselves to get the support. In the same way, in the leaf, that is called as leaf hooks. Okay, Bignonia ungis cati. This name, you please keep it in your mind. It is actually called as cat's nail. Have you seen the cat's nail? It will be like this. Okay, so this plant is actually called as cat's nail. Cat's nail. Okay, so you can see the picture here. Can you see 1, 2, 3? Okay, the 3 leaves have modified themselves into a hook to just get support. Then they will get, they will go and clinch themselves on the stem. So you can see the 2 other leaves are normal. Can you see the background? These 2 are normal. Only 1 leaf has converted it into the 3 leaflets. Okay. Clear, students? Yeah. Now we have flowers. Flowers, one of the very, very important, but I need to do some question answers also today.
Ma'am.
Yes?
Can you go to previous slide, ma'am?
Previous slide, yes, sure. Yeah. So half an hour I need to do some question answers, students. So shall we do that? Flowers, we can do it next class. So I'll just show you once. Let her finish it. I'll show you.
I'm completed, ma'am.
Okay, 1 minute. Yeah. So I wanted to show you the flowers, students. Okay. Yeah. Flowers, you can see I've taken all the pictures. Okay. Lot of terminologies which you have to keep it in your mind. Bractate, e-bractate. Okay. Then if you see here, zygomorphic, this and all is there in your 11th standard. Okay. But just the names, a staminate. Okay, this and all, zygomorphic, pedicellate, sessile, actinomorphic. Okay. These names and all you might have heard. So I have taken the respective, uh, the flowers. Okay. So this is bougainvillea. I was talking about bougainvillea, right? This is bougainvillea. You know, right? The paper flower. This is called as bougainvillea. Okay. Then you can see you have the gamosepalus, polysepalus. Okay. So astivations, astivations. This is there in your textbook. But if you just see the diagrams, okay, you can see that they're just touching each other, and twistedly you can see that they're overlapping. Okay, they're just over. See, this is on the here, then this is on the top, this is on the top, this is on the top. Then you have the imbricate. Imbricate, like completely, this completely will be on the top and this will be down. Then this will be on the top completely. This is actually, margins are top and down. Here you can see completely. Vexillary, you know, right? Rest all the leaves will be down. So like, yeah. So here you have the monoadelphous, diadelphous, where you can see that all the anthers are fused. Okay, so I've taken only this much. Okay, so I will go to the questions. Students will have the questions for half an hour. I'll just share the screen. Shall we go for the questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So is it clear? Yeah. So this is like whatever we have studied, I've put up in the question answers form. Right. So if you just go through, you will get an idea that how the MCQs will be. Okay. So like if you see the first question, how do the roots of the plants growing in swamps and marshes obtain their oxygen? So when you talk about the swamps and marshes, which slide comes to your mind? While taking that slide, I told you clearly that these you can see in the swamps and marshes. This was the word I was telling again and again. The roots, when we have seen the modification of the roots. Tell me, students, you remember this?
Epiphytic roots, ma'am.
What is it? This one, this slide? Right? Swamps, marshy. Can you see the exactly the same words are used?
Oh, I remember that it has Valaman, but oh my god, I forgot the root
No,
name.
no, the line is not clear, Priya. What is that?
It has Valaman tissue.
Velamen tissue. This one? Actually, the line is not at all clear, Priya. I'm not able to hear anything. You, if you have assumed the same, just give me a thumbs up. That's all. Because you were telling some answer, whether it was the same thing. Just give me a reaction, Priya. Okay, students, so you can see that swamps and marshes, the roots of the plants growing in the swamps and marshes grow vertically upward and respire. They have not given nematophores, they have not given rhizopora example, nothing. Okay, just I made the question so that you can relate it with the slides. Okay, they become negatively geotropic, yes or no? Because now they are not growing down, they are growing against the ground, so they are negatively geotropic, but they are positively phototropic. Okay, names a modification of the plant parts for the purpose of photosynthesis. All those modifications which they have done for doing the photosynthesis. That is the stem. Just now we have seen that, okay? Trappa and Tinospora. Tinospora, I didn't take that. Instead of that, I have taken the opentia and all will come under this. The stems which are getting modified into a leaf-like structure. We have just seen the opentia, right? Same thing, okay? So you have other examples also like Trappa, Tinospora and all, right? So here also Trappa, Tinospora, if you can just go and see the, you can take out the, they will not have the stem, students. They will not have the stem. The stem will get converted into, it's a very beautiful diagram, the Trappa. Mm, if I show you in this way, is it visible for you? See, students, can you see Trappa? There are no stems. The stem completely is actually modified into leaf. Small, 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 small leaf. Can you see? These are the Trappa.
Okay.
Okay. They call it by another one name. I think chestnut. Something is their name. Okay, I think chestnut. Okay, so that you can see.
Yes, ma'am. It's water chestnut, ma'am.
Chestnut only, right? Yeah, chestnut. So if you see our example, it is opentia. Okay, the same things. So in plants like Trappa and Tinospora, the roots grow out of the soil and develop chlorophyll to perform the photosynthesis. Okay, what are the edible part of the ginger and onions? Just now we have seen that the fleshy leaves of the onions are the edible parts, but we have seen even the names, right? The concentric circles. I'll show you the edible part. Yeah, you can see the scaly leafy bases. If the tunic is there in your MCQ, you can tick that. Okay, actually this portion, the outermost leafy area is called as tunic. Okay, so if you have a MCQ like that, then you can tick on the tunic. Okay. So they're asking like ginger and the onions, which modified part, whether it is a stem, root, leaf, whatever it is. So just now we have seen that they were coming under the modification of the stem. So it is actually a modified stem, which is converting itself into a edible part. Okay. All the materials are stored there. Fleshy leaves of the onions are the edible parts. In case of the onions, what we get, the fleshy leaves, they are only getting into a modified part. Okay. Pinnately and the palmately, I told you, you can read it from the book. So pinnately is what? The mid-rib of the leaf is present on a common axis called rachis. Students, this rachis is important. The leaflet, the center vein is there, right? The center vein. That's called as the rachis. Okay. And midrib of the leaf is present on a common axis. Okay. On other hand, when you see the palmately leaves, the leaflets are attached at the tip of the petiole. So like if you take a single leaf, in that you have a midrib, right? That only, it looks exactly like this, the rachis. So rachis, what you will have, the midrib of the leaf is present on a common axis. You will have a common axis and you will have many leaves, so that each midribs are attached to this common rachis. Okay, but in case of the palmately leaves, the leaflets, small leaflets will be attached to the tip of the petiole. Okay, palmately and pinnately, you know, right? You have studied that. The book in the Union NCERT book also you have the diagram. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So that's why I didn't actually wanted to take the palmately. Yeah, you can see palmately. See students, this diagram palmately, white, palmately. Okay, so you can see the top, this part. Okay, this is the rachis. So to rachis, you can see all the leaflets are attached. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
and you have a pinnately also. Yeah, this is the pinnately. Can you see pinnately? There is a long center branch. On either sides, you have the leaves. Can you see the difference? So I'm not having that pen, students, otherwise it could have been more clear. Okay, so explain different types of phyllotaxy with suitable example. What do you mean by phyllotaxy? The arrangement of the leaves. Okay, so you have all these types: alternative phyllotaxy, opposite phyllotaxy. Alternate, as the name suggests, one then next, one then next. Opposite means just opposite. Okay, so like you can say that from one bud the two comes out in case of the opposite. Okay, so the leaf arises from each node in an alternate manner. There will be one bud here, then on the top the next bud will be there, then on the top next bud will be there. So you will get the leaves in an alternative manner. But in case of the opposite, what will have? Each nodelet two leaves come out facing opposite to each other. Okay, so China rose, sunflower and all is the example of alternate, and Calotropis is a example of opposite. Calotropis, I have the, okay, then you have the hold phyllotaxy. Just now we have seen, right, that you will have more than one leaf at the single node. Okay, if you have, actually you can say that if you have only one leaf at a node, it comes as an alternate. If you have two leaves at one node, it is actually opposite. If you have many, then it's called as a hold phyllotaxy. Okay, describe the modification of the stem, give examples. So you have the tendrils, we have seen passiflora. See here also they have given the same thing, antagonon. Okay, then you have the thorns. These are sharp needle-like structure that are formed to reduce the transpiration and also act as a defense. I told you, right? Thorns are to avoid the plant from the grazing animals. I told you citrus, pomegranate also you can keep it in your mind. Okay, pomegranate. Then phylloclades also I told you, these are the green flattened succulent leaf-shaped structure that perform photosynthesis. What do you mean by succulent? Euphorbia. Euphorbia. I'll show you. What do you mean by succulent, students? In the previous this I told you what do you mean by the succulent. They store what?
Water. The nourishment, water.
Water. Okay, they store water. So actually this I told you, right, these phylloclades, they are modified to reduce the transpiration. Okay, that is they will not allow the water to lose also, as well as they will suck and keep the water also. They store water also. So mostly they will be succulents. All these categories which are actually avoiding the transpiration process, they will be mainly succulents. Okay, for the process indefinite growth. Okay, Opentia, Euphorbia alone, Opentia was the main example. Cladodes, they are green, photosynthetic, of limited growth. The leaves of, I told you asparagus, you remember the slide, asparagus, small, okay, just one internode long. So they are green, photosynthetic, of limited growth, I told you. The leaves are either modified into spines or reduced to scales. We have seen that they can be small leaves also. They can be small spines also. Okay, so asparagus was the example I told you. There's ruscus also. Okay, which two roots develop from different parts of the angiosperm plant other than the radicle? This I'll be taking you in the seed portion. You know, students, that seed, when you put the seed inside the soil, you know that it gives rise to a new plant. Okay, so seed, when you put the seed, even when you germinate the what to say, lenticles, okay, the pachapyrellame, you germinate, right? Germinate and cook and eat, right? So you can see that after 1 or 2 days you soak it in the plant, you can see that some white color thing will arise from the top and the bottom. Okay, so actually from the seed, when the seed germinate, one white color comes from the top and one white color comes from the down. The top one is called as the plumule, the down one is called as the radicle. That radicle only is converted to a root system. That plumule only is converted to a shoot system. That I'll tell you when it takes seeds. Okay. So they are saying here that which two roots develop from different part of the angiosperm plant other than the radicle. Just now I told you that radicle only give root system. But they are saying others. Others. Which is others? This you have studied prop root, banyan tree. Have you seen from the branches it was developing down? You remember?
Yes, ma'am.
Prop roots, tilt roots and all, students, you remember in the last class I have taken. So they were not actually coming from the, yeah, this exactly this diagram. See here? They're coming from the branch, from the stem. So you can see that this root is not developing from the radicle. Generally, from the radicle only the roots are developing. Roots develop. But here in these cases, you can see that it's not developing from the root. Okay, so keep it in your mind, students. These are the examples of the root system which is actually coming other than the radicle. Okay, so prop root of the banyan tree which develop from lower node of the stem of the tree, and stilt root in sugarcane which arises from the lower node of the stem and it penetrates inside the soil. Both the roots are meant to provide the support. I told you banyan tree also and this also. Then it is differentiate between the roots of the aquatic plant and the terrestrial plant. Roots. Okay. So when you see the roots of the aquatic plant, they may or may not, because they mostly float. Okay. Vascular bundles are poorly developed. What do you mean by vascular bundles?
Xylem and phloem.
Very good. Xylem and phloem. Okay. So when you see them in the vascular bundles are very poorly developed. Okay, because there is no vascular system, because they will be either the floating type or they will be like immersed in water. Okay, so they are not very big plants that leaves are in one corner and they have to transport the food and water. Okay, so their vascular bundles, even if it is present, it's not that developed. Okay, and they are modified to perform photosynthesis. So they're asking about the roots. So in case of the roots of the aquatic plants, they are mainly modified to perform the photosynthesis. Okay, because they are always in the water, under the water. So those plants which need to do the photosynthesis, they will modify their root to do the photosynthesis, to store the food and the gaseous exchange. In case of the terrestrial plants, the same functions of root, you can say. The roots are well developed, they have a proper xylem and phloem, and mostly the roots are used for a support system or to transport the minerals from the soil. So this root of terrestrial plant is very clear, the normal function of the root. But in case of the aquatic plant, you have to keep it in your mind that the roots are may not be present mostly, and vascular bundles are almost zero, and their roots are mainly modified into to do the photosynthesis, food storage and the gaseous exchange. Okay. Yeah. Okay, this actually one information is here. What role do the roots of the aquatic plants play? So I told you that they will not have the roots. Okay, if they have the roots, what will they do? So I told you that they have to do the photosynthesis. Okay, because the plants which are there in the aquatic region, they are called as phytoplanktons, right? And phytoplanktons are the feed for the zooplanktons. So they need to grow. So they need to do the photosynthesis. So their roots should actually come up to do the photosynthesis. So in that way, they modified their roots, mainly to do the photosynthesis. Okay. Another one is that they get inflated. Very important, students, that I told you about floating, right? So most of the aquatic plants, their roots will get flat so that they can float on the water. Okay, so that's the meaning, right? Two functions mainly you have to keep it in your mind for the aquatic roots. They modify themselves either to do the photosynthesis, or they will make their roots flat so that they can float. Okay, so they get inflated because the air projects out of the water, which helps the plant in floating and gaseous exchange. So when they float only, they can do the gaseous exchange with the atmosphere, right? Why many have left? How many are there?
Only 3 left, ma'am.
3 left, right? What happened? Network issues or what? Hep C and all. What happened? Some network issue or what? Yeah, only 4 are there. We're about to end it. Okay. Okay, this actually I wanted to do in the flower portion, students. The flowers, calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. This all you know, right? Calyx is what? It's called as the sepals. Okay, outermost whole of the flower. Two, it comprises of the sepals. They are usually green and protective. Corolla is the petals. They are the attractive one. And why are they attractive? Just to do the pollination. Okay, because they are attractive, they are able to attract the insects and all, because of which the pollination is possible, right? Androecium, it is made up of stamen, which is the male reproductive organ, and it consists of a filament and an anther. So androecium is the male, gynoecium is the female. So androecium, it has, right? It has a filament. Over that you have a stamen. Inside stamen you have a pollen grains, right? On the other hand, gynoecium, you have what? You have carpels, okay, or it is also called as pistil. It is also called as pistil, okay. So it has 3 parts. The top one is the stigma, followed by the tube style, and down you have a ovary, right? This will take you in the flowers. Yeah. So see, this is a question. This again will come in the parthenocarpy. Okay, this question not we can see afterwards. Yeah. So see, students, this is a question that ginger, okay. So they are growing down. So why that ginger is a modification of a stem, not a root? Okay. So the only thing is that how can you differentiate a root and a stem? Root means it will not have a node, internodes, leaves, flowers and all, right? If it is a stem only, it will have all these things. And you can see that the ginger is able to produce all these things, right? So what we can say that it is actually a modification of stem, not root. If it is a root, then it will not have any leaves, nodes, internodes, all those things, right? So ginger is an underground modification of the stem which bears internodes, nodes, buds and leaves that give rise to aerial shoots. The lower surface of the nodes give rise to adventitious root. Also, it does not play any role in the anchorage and absorption. Yes. So ginger, whether it gives support to the plant? No. Okay, generally what the roots will do, roots give the support to the plant. So when ginger is not giving support, then how can you list it under the root section? Okay, it only serve as a reservoir. Ginger, we are using it as a edible thing. So it is just the reservoir to store food. This proves that ginger is a stem, not a root. Okay, These things are important, students. These questions are important because now they have changed the NEET pattern. It's like you have more assertion, reason type of questions. You have more, you have more options which are explanatory one. Okay, they will be given, the MCQs are actually more explanated form, and you have to select the best ones in that form. Why is sunflower not a flower? This I'll teach you in inflorescence. I've just started the slide with inflorescence. Okay, so you can see that my last slides are actually inflorescence. Yeah, I've started here, students, the inflorescence. So inflorescence in deep, I have to tell you. Okay, so there only you will get all these things. Sunflower inflorescence. Okay, capitulum and all. Yeah, so that I will teach you afterwards. Germination in the seeds. Cotyledon seeds. Advantageous roots. What are advantageous roots? You know, right? So the roots which develop from the different parts of the plants other than the radicals. So a radical, I told you, plumule will give rise to shoot system. Radical will give rise to root system. But advantageous roots, they are not developing from the radicals. Okay. Edible part of the ginger is the rhizome. Venation, I told you, arrangement of the veins in a leaf. Onions, the fleshy, scaly leaf only, the which is present in the concentric circles only we eat. Okay. Where does the wood come from? Brassicaceae. Okay, this I will. I have not. This I'll show. I'll see you when we see the family and all. Right? Is the fruit not a seed? Why the sunflower is not? Okay, that's all. Okay, so these are some of the questions, important questions which I got actually, students. Okay, so how was the question, students? How were the questions? Yes, Subhashri.
Yes, ma'am. The questions are direct and I think it's easy to answer only, ma'am.
Yeah, they were easy, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I just wanted to summarize it up, whatever we have studied. Okay. So that's all, students. So for today's class, then I have to take flowers and maybe one more class you need. Okay. I'll take the flowers and I have to take inflorescence in detail. Inflorescence is really, really very important. So I'll take the inflorescence in detail. Okay. And many are not there. They left maybe because of the network issue or whatever it is. So how was the class? Can you just switch on your videos? Yeah, Subhashri, tell me. How
Yeah,
was
ma'am.
the class?
Before your explanation, I think the examples are confusing for me. Now
Okay.
we give a new tip like to observe the diagrams, ma'am. Yeah,
It's
easy, ma'am.
really helpful, right?
Ma'am.
Yeah, because Opentia, now you'll never forget that what is Opentia.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
will never forget that what is that Bougainvillea. Even those names we always used to hear, Rhizopora. So many examples, right? Like when the diagram is there, it's like fixed into your mind that this is what, and when we are seeing that inside this and all is the notes, internotes and all, so it's very clear. So this chapter, the only method is to the other examples which I couldn't show you also. Most of the things which are very not familiar, I have taken the examples. Okay, and which is easy, which they generally ask in the exam. So you also, when you study this chapter, whenever you come across the example, just go and see the image.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
and they will, you have to choose the image. Like when I open the image, there will be so many images. I try to take the image which actually focuses those. Okay,
Yes,
that will be very clearly seen in the flowers when I take. You can see the fused stamens, the fused filaments, the fused petals. So when you see that, it will be very clear because all these informations are there in your NCRT, no doubt. Everything is there. Okay, the only thing is that the characteristics and the diagram you have to fix into your mind. Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
Subhashri, then happy Diwali. Bye.
Advance happy Diwali, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Priya, you cannot switch on, right? You can just talk.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, Priya, how was it?
Yeah, ma'am. It was useful. Like it was like recollecting all the topics we studied in
Hmm.
the 11th standard.
Yeah, correct. And I think many new informations are also there, right?
Yeah, ma'am. Many new examples.
Examples. Yeah. Even the cat, snail, all those things are really, really. This time when I got these two, three examples new this time. Yeah. Okay, Priya, then. Happy Diwali.
Same to you, ma'am. Have a safe
Okay.
Diwali.
Bye. Nivi, switch on your video, Nivi. Yeah, Nivi, how was the class?
Ma'am, it is easy only, ma'am, but more about the remembrance.
Yeah, you will remember, no doubt. You are afraid that you will remember it.
I'm telling about this one, what should be done.
We have no. There's nothing like that's what I told, na, that if you take out the questions and see, they're just asking you the characteristics. They just mingle all the characteristics together. Okay, so only thing is that you have to go through the examples and the images. Okay, the only thing is that you have to collect from the 10 to 12 years back question paper the examples they are asking continuously for that one particular term. Like if it is a runner, frequently which example they're asking. See, there are for each and everything there are 20 plus examples. Okay, so it's not possible for a child to remember everything that even the neat persons they know. So there are some 4 or 5 examples which they always used to ask. Okay, so I have also tried to take those examples which they have repeatedly asked in the NEET. Okay, and the best thing is that you have to see the diagram. If you see the picture, then only it will be like fixed in your mind. If you see the aestivation or the venation or whatever it is, mainly the flowers when it will come, you have to see mainly like if the stalk is not there, how it looks. If the stalk is there, how it looks. If you cut the flower, whether the symmetry is coming or not coming. So this and all, when you see the picture, it will go into your mind. Did you understand, Nivi?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to like better you make the plug cards, all those things, and just stick it in your room so that every time you are seeing these things. Okay, because when you see the things only, it will go inside your mind. So generally, what we used to do, we used to make a flow chart, okay, or the chart, or we used to stick in our room, making the plug cards, or we used to make some connections, some word connections and all, right? Somehow you have to keep it in your mind. That's all. And it's not like you have to mug the things because you're not going to write there. The thing will be there, the options will be there. The only thing is that you have to recollect the thing, and you have to, because the options will be very related, which will make you confused. Like if we have seen sucker, stollen, offset, and all are almost same. They only differentiate in their bud or in the way they go underground and then they grow cron. These are the terms which will give you some hint. Right, Nivi?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in reproduction, what you felt, which part was tough or something like that?
Reproduction, once we are like thorough with the chapter, it is actually easy, ma'am.
Easy, yeah. Because that's it. You have the concept, that's it. They don't have the, you know, there are so many concepts are not there. If you have a part, it has a particular function. If this means this. So you can actually conclude the concepts. But here it is not like that in this chapter. You have many examples. When you take the question papers, you get each and everything, lot of examples. Even if you take buts, there are a lot of buts there. If you take the terminologies, there are a lot of terminologies. So that's why the chapter is little actually confusing. I'll try to take out all the questions, okay, and we'll be doing it all the questions once. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Nivi, then thank you and happy
Thank you.
Diwali.
Thank you. Same to you.
Okay, bye.